maybe we could switch gears a bit, and we were talking about this earlier with like how it's different where you had a magazine. Now we have the internet streaming, right? So could we maybe talk about the effects of this on like a lot of the guys I work with, their fathers, their
Mm.
husbands, they have kids, they have sons, they have daughters. Could we maybe talk about like the effects of, like you were mentioning it earlier as well, a little bit more about that for like the kids and the responsibility there that the parents have?
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is a topic I'm very, very passionate about. So just full transparency. I'm not a father. It's what I do dream. And pray the most about having. I do work with boys though. So I coach little league. I play an active role in mentorship. To young boys because I see obviously a need in the world for men. I see a very big role there. So once again, going back to what I said at the beginning, average age of first exposure is 11. It's the truth. You can go check it on your own. What we also must understand is what fires together wires together. So that 11-year-old brain doesn't have sexuality programmed into it. It hasn't fully wired to completion. What ends up happening is through the consumption of this, they don't understand. They can't detach themselves from porn as entertainment or porn as sexual education. So it begins to become the way that they learn about sexuality, the way that they learn about intimacy, the way that they learn about how to treat a woman. And anybody that's ever watched 10 seconds of pornography on the internet knows that that is not real intimacy. That is not how you that is not what you create in the real world. It's highly produced. Scenes are set up in a very specific way. Camera lenses, lighting, shot multiple times to create the feeling. You're seeing a production. You're seeing a fantasy production. If anybody doesn't believe that, I've had former porn stars on the podcast. Go and check it out. So our young boys and girls are educating themselves about sexuality through the internet. I heard a really, really heartbreaking story. I think it was the founder of Fight the New Drug that delivered this talk at an event. Fight the New Drug is kind of an awareness organization that talks about the dangers of pornography and the link to human trafficking. They have apparel, they have a podcast. Great organization. But the founder, I believe his name was Clayton, was giving a talk at an event. And he was describing a scenario of a parent's story that reached out to him. And this was a young boy's parent, 13, 14 years old. Young boy was excited. He's got his girlfriend coming over to the house. It's like a Saturday night. They're doing a date night at the house. So big house. They set the car up in a driveway. They have one of those, big projection screens. So it's kind of like a drive-in movie type of thing that they're setting up for the kids at the house. So they get the boy, they set him up in the car. They say, okay, you guys are good. We'll check in on you about an hour or so. They come out, just to check in on the kids to see what's going on. They look in the car and the little boy's got his hands around the girl's neck and he's choking her. And they instantly open the door and grab him and pull him out. They're like, what are you doing? What is going on? They're like, well, I love her. Like, isn't that the way that I express my love to her? So when we hear that and we realize, one of the most searched terms is strangling, right? And I heard of this whole other thing on TikTok now that I wasn't even aware about. I heard about it like 3 weeks ago that there's young women and young girls that are posting on TikTok like they're strangling, like the bruises on their neck. So the girls are seeing it as a sign of endearment and love. The young boys are being raised and brought up that this is how you do love women. So that is just one example of how it's literally altering and warping young men's and young girls' minds. Now, you asked about the parents though. What do the parents do? Well, any man listening to this that still has pornography in his life, do not go have a conversation with your children until you removed it out of your life, because that will not be received. Your kids are way smarter than you give them credit for, and they're going to pick up way more in how you say things opposed to what you say. They're going to pick up way more in how you live and operate versus what you say. So please, any man out there that is hearing this and is struggling with it in his life but has kids at home, take care of yourself first and then go have the conversation. But I think we need to be in front of it. I think the greatest tool for parents is education. Education for themselves, but education for their children. So I had a gentleman by the name of Chris McKenna on my podcast. Chris runs an organization called Protect Young Eyes. They go around to schools, churches, organizations, businesses, and educate the adults there on how to have conversations with their children, not just about pornography, but all devices, tablets, phones, media, YouTube. Like there's real forces working against us when we understand that. And that, I'm not trying to go too far down a conspiracy hole here. It just is true. That cell phone is created to get me addicted to it. Maybe not the cell phone, but the apps built inside of it. Watch Social Dilemma and you'll understand this. These apps, these phones, everything about it is created to get my brain hooked on it. So knowing that they'll use any means necessary to do so, they don't care about the health of your children. They care about the dollar bills. So parents need to first get themselves educated and clean and out of their lives first. Then just make it like Chris said. Chris said make pornography the most popular word in your home. Your kids should know what it is. They should know what it isn't. And they should know who do they go to if and when they see it.